Shit just got real.
I'm Dr. Emily Porter. I'm a board-certified emergency physician in Austin, Texas. And right now we're in the middle of this coronavirus outbreak. And everyone is really confused because they don't understand why are the bars closing? Why is everyone hoarding toilet paper? And isn't this just like the flu? Because why is everyone panicking now and they didn't panic before? And so I'm also happen to be the sister of Katie Porter, who's a representative in Congress from California, who about a week ago made national headlines for her whiteboard. She's famous for her numbers and drawing things out so that the people on the Hill who she questions can understand them. So,
how about flu A? The flu A test.
Ma'am, again, I would take a guess at about maybe 50.
43? Flu, this is like the Price is Right. Flu B?
Too high again. I would probably say 44.
That's good. This all totals up to $1,331. That's assuming they aren't kept in isolation.
Ma'am, that's Congresswoman.
Great, so you're familiar. Dr. Redfield, will you commit to the CDC right now using that existing authority to pay for diagnostic testing free to every American regardless of insurance?
Well, I can say that we're going to do everything to make sure everybody can get the care they need.
Reclaiming my time. The deadline and the time for delay has passed. Will you commit to invoking your existing authority under 42 CFR 71.30 to provide for coronavirus testing for every American regardless of insurance coverage? Dr. Redfield, you don't need to do any work to operationalize. You need to make a commitment to the American people so they come in to get tested. You can operationalize the payment structure tomorrow.
I think you're an excellent questioner, so my answer is yes.
Excellent. Everybody in America hear that. You are eligible to go get tested for coronavirus and have that covered regardless of insurance. Please, if you believe you have the illness, follow precautions. Call first. Do everything the CDC and Dr. Fauci, God bless you, for guiding Americans in this time.
So I thought it kind of runs in the family, and I'm going to show you on my whiteboard why doctors, governors, and other people around the country are concerned about coronavirus and why every American should be, and really everyone around the world should be. So numbers-wise, in America, we have 331 million people. So the CDC is estimating that about 40 to 70% of them will get infected. Okay, so I'm definitely a glass is half full kind of person. So to make the numbers easy, I'm going to say that it's 150 million people. 150 million infected. Okay, that's about 45%. So on the lower end of that 40 to 70%. So if 150 million people get infected, 80% of them are going to be just fine. They're going to say, they're going to have a cold. They're going to feel like they have a runny nose, a cough. Actually, that's not much runny nose, but a cough, a fever. They're going to feel like they have a cold or allergies, and they're going to be just fine. They might not even get tested. They might not ever know that they had anything. They had a little fever, no big deal. So 20% of people will need hospitalization. Italy has a big problem right now, and they don't have enough hospital beds for people. Well, they have more hospital beds per capita in Italy than they have in America. So they have more hospitals, more doctors, more people to take care of all the sick people than we do in America. So 80% fine, 20% need a hospitalization. 5 to 10% of the 150 million that get infected are going to need a ventilator. So a ventilator is also called a respirator. You've heard life support. That means you're going to take somebody, put a breathing tube in their trachea and help inflate their lungs. So coronaviruses have been around forever. Colds and flu are coronaviruses, but this strain is very new to us and we're still learning about it. But what we know is that it primarily kills people by attacking their lungs and their heart. So the only way to save those sick people of the 20%, 5 to 10% of this 150 will need a ventilator to help them breathe, life support. What it does is it helps their lungs rest, it helps their heart rest, it gives their body time to heal because we don't have a cure for this virus, we don't have an antiviral drug that works, and we don't have a vaccine. Let's say 5% of the people need ventilators. Again, glass is half full. So 5% of 150 million people is 7.5 million vents needed in America. If these people get sick, the only way they're going to live is if we have a ventilator for them. So we need 7.5 million ventilators. And so America-wide, we have about, they estimate between 72,000 and 120,000. So we're going to round up, because we're optimistic, and say this is the number that they have in hospitals right now. If they pull all the ventilators out of storage, if they take all the ventilators out of the operating rooms, if they suspend all the elective surgeries, they pull, and they take everybody who's currently on a ventilator, because there are people, our hospitals are full. There's people that have had a heart attack, or there's people that have the flu that are currently using ventilators or respirators. But let's say that they're completely empty. Then we pull all these ones out of storage, we have 120,000. We're going to say we have 150,000. We're going to say that the government finds a way to find 30,000 of them real quick, and we have 150,000. So let's say we have 150,000 vents available in the country, okay? If I were to give you a percentage of 0.02% of people could get a ventilator if they needed one, right? That doesn't sound that bad, but what if I told you that 1 in 50 people who need a ventilator can get one? What does that mean? That means that 49 people out of 50 are going to die, because we do not have the respirators and the ventilators to take care of them. That is scary. That should scare you. That scares me. That should scare everybody who can understand basic math, including my second grader, that 1 in 50 are bad odds. So what that also means is that the doctors have to choose who that 1 in 50 is. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if you had to say, oh, I'm sorry, you have had cancer before, so therefore you don't have a perfectly clean bill of health, so you're not worth saving. Can you imagine saying, oh, I'm sorry, you're 80 and I've got a 30-year-old that needs the ventilator? Making those choices, because that's what they're doing in Italy right now. They're having to decide, use ethics committees, and then you run into people bribing people. It's a disaster. Nobody wants to do that, And so unless you want this to happen, unless you want somebody to decide whether you're worth saving, or your dad, or your sister, or your baby, or your grandma is worth saving, you have to do your part to prevent us from having to make these decisions, because we're heading there, and we're heading there very, very quickly.